From flower base to cherry shrimp aquarium. In today's video, I'll show you how you can turn anything into a beautiful aquarium. If 1, you know the basics of plant growing, and 2, you choose the right inhabitants. Stay with me till the end for a few tips to ensure you succeed. I'll be using this flower base as the actual tank. I'm using cholla wood. Shrimps are supposed to love it. I want to put these two pieces together, but it needs to fit in the jar, so we're going to have to make some adjustments. That should work. I love this paper towel and glue trick. You can put anything together with this. The smoke means it's working. Alright, we are ready for the next step. I'll be using plants from this 30-gallon tank. And the first ones I want to use are these beautiful red rhotallas. I know they are not epiphytes, and they should only be planted in the soil, but I just want to see what happens. I'm also going to use some Hygrophila pinnatifida, and these are actual epiphytes. The stem is so soft that you can even cut it with your fingernails. Some Anubias, and lastly, weeping moss. Before you take these cuttings out of the aquarium, have a small container filled with aquarium water so they don't dry out. And have a spray bottle ready as well to keep them moist. The best thing about this wood is all these little holes that it has. They are perfect for planting. Guys, Anubias are amazing plants. They don't need any soil or any specific conditions. They will thrive pretty much anywhere. Some of the Anubias I'm using are too big to fit in the holes. I'll use some gel type superglue for those. Make sure to spray them every once in a while to keep them from drying out. I want to use Hygrophila pinnatifida to kind of create the impression of a palm tree. This plant is very interesting because it can be used as an epiphyte, but it can also be planted in the soil, and it will thrive either way. The bigger pieces are going in the top, and then I'll scatter the smaller shoots around it. What do you guys think? What does it look like? Let me know in the comments. So much dust. If you guys try this, it's probably a good idea to wash the sand before you use it. This tiny submersible water pump is going to be our filter inlet, a sponge to keep the little shrimp safe, and a rubber band to keep it all together. I'll use CO2 tubing to pump the water out. Put the pump in the base before the hardscape, because you might not be able to do it afterwards. This smaller piece of cholla wood is to hide the pump. Okay, so this is a tiny little jar with no space for any internal filtration. So how am I going to keep it clean? Well, I'm going to make a filter. And I'll do it using this small food storage container. We don't need this rubber gasket. Corrugated plastic will be ideal for the filter outlet. We just need a tiny little piece. And this right here is our filter outlet. I'm using an old soldering iron to cut through the plastic. It cuts through it like butter. Then I'll put them together with a hot glue gun. Alright, the filter is done. Now we need a base. Once we have light, we place the filter inlet in the container, add some filter media, and some Purigen to keep the water clear. I ended up adding a few dots with the hot glue gun in the filter outlet, just in case the flow gets too slow. Because if it does get too slow, water might start to roll back in the bottom of the outlet. With these little glue dots, I decreased the chances of that happening. They'll serve as a guide, directing the water down into the base. Make sure to add a little sponge to catch all the debris coming out of the filter. Now we are ready for the inhabitants. In this case, since it's such a tiny environment, we'll use cherry shrimp. And of course, one need-eye snail for algae control. Guys, it's very important that if you do something like this, you figure out exactly how much water it holds. Because when you add salts or fertilizers in such a small container, it could be really bad if you use too much. Personally, since I have other tanks, what I'll do is, every time I add fertilizers to my main aquariums, I'll add some of that water to this little base. That way, it'll be getting the same care as the other aquariums. So, if you use the right plants, provide the right nutrition, choose the right inhabitants, and ensure proper filtration, you should be able to make an aquarium anywhere.